Hi, everybody. It's me, Jackie Clayton. I am here live at the lounge in Boston Logan Airport. So let me apologize in advance. If anything crazy happens back here, it's totally not my fault. As a side note, we are here with Jared, excited about that, and he's here to answer your questions. This is a show where we want to talk and find out what you want and be sure and answer those questions. So you're on mute now, but you can put it in that box over here where it says ask a question, and we will make sure and get those answered. And you can also tweet it out with the hashtag #RDaily, and we will get those going. So let's just jump into it. I've met Jared. He did a webinar with us at a time, and I spelled his name wrong 15 times, 15 different places. And then I got to meet him in Hireview, and we became closer. He's just a smart, fun guy. And so for people who don't know you, why don't you tell them a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, so Jared Bazzell, I lead our university relations, talent acquisition, and intern programs here at CDW. Been here for about 2 years. Really excited about continuing to drive innovation in talent acquisition with technology. Various different platforms, whether it's Hireview, Text Recruit, internal dashboards, and analytics to drive efficiency in our recruitment process, not only in university recruiting, but throughout the talent acquisition organization.
Well, we had talked a little bit before, when we did the CDW piece, but what do you think the biggest challenges with university recruiting?
Yeah, one of the biggest, biggest challenges is really gaining the insight into your strategy, right? What's effective? And I think a lot of the times recruiters and managers shoot from the hip. And they look at data, but they're not extrapolating it and pulling it all together. Using things like, advanced Excel reporting, Tableau, other visualization tools really gives you a complete picture into where best to kind of, hone in and target your strategy and how you go about it.
Now, I met somebody yesterday from Piazza. Are you familiar with them?
Yes.
Do you use any tools like that, like some of the ones that are targeting college members?
Yeah, so we use a handful of college-targeted recruitment tools, whether it's a sourcing or more of a job posting. One of them is Way Up. Where they're specifically going out there, they're marketing to college students, they're building profiles, they're giving recruiters access to be able to source and search that database then and mine it, and then they also have various different engagements that they do with various different companies, whether it's Forbes and the Opportunities Hub at the upcoming Under 30 conference, or various of other magnitudes.
Well, I kind of snuck those questions in because I was just curious. But I wanted to talk about job previews because we were, that was one of the things that we mentioned that we were going to go over, and you were talking about authenticity and realistic expectations. Tell me a little bit more about that. I don't know if a lot of people use that kind of verbiage. Tell me more about that.
Yeah, so for us, we wanted to provide our, candidates an experience where they could get a realistic preview of what it's like to work at CDW, what it's like to intern at CDW, regardless of the position. And we wanted to have them hear it from real-life coworkers here at CDW, people who are actually in the role in an unscripted, kind of candid environment, right? And not something that's a professionally shot, big box, expensive production, but rather something that's done on iPhones and kind of handheld devices, and keeping it very simple. One of our programs here at CDW is a campus internship where they're actually based on college campuses throughout the U.S. And there's not an opportunity to send a professional CDW photographer there, and we didn't want one. So they have company phones, they have company cell phone iPhones, and so we asked them to essentially have a friend record them. We gave them a series of questions saying, what's your favorite part about CDW? What are you most interested in? What do you do for CDW? What do you like? What do you not like? And we used that to really kind of pull together a realistic preview of, multiple interns. So it wasn't just one person talking. It was multiple different people from across the United States that are part of this program nationally.
Well, now you just said that you asked them what they didn't like. Do you share that information with the people that, do you tell people
Yeah,
like,
and I
hey,
think that, providing, the good, the bad, and the ugly, and you know what? I mean, the feedback, I will tell you, we were really surprised. It's not necessarily things that they didn't like. It's just more of, kind of how you view the role, right? And really, it wasn't negative, right? And I think that's what we asked our coworkers to tell us, right? Is we want the full picture, right? We don't want it scripted. We don't want it to seem fake. And I think you'll be pleasantly surprised when you give coworkers the opportunity to participate for something like this. We asked them to volunteer. We didn't go around and really kind of say, hey, do this. We asked them to volunteer for the opportunity. And I think the people who volunteer naturally are probably ones that are, a little bit more favorable, I guess I would say. But, the feedback that they had for us was overall fairly strong. And actually, I think, it was actually one of them was like, how could I get this in my interview process?
well, I mean, I think it's good, in asking about, like, you tell people what the negative is or what people's what they say. A lot of people are challenged by, should we be authentic, or they use stock photos. What would you do if somebody said, like a Glassdoor? Do you use authentically? Do you use any of those things too? Like when people come back, I'm just curious.
Yeah, so our internship programs on Glassdoor are rated 4.9 out of 5, so very, very high. And I think that kind of goes to the testament of what we're providing to our interns and really making sure that they know what they're signing up for, right, with these realistic job previews and providing that critical insight into the process. I think another thing, the more I kind of think about it, the participants in these videos, they're really kind of providing insight that a recruiter is already doing, but it's from another source. And I think another kind of key aspect of these job previews is they close with questions from the recruiter, from the hiring manager, and it gives them an opportunity to connect with that recruiter, that hiring manager, before they advance in the interview process. You wouldn't believe how many candidates saw the video, saw the preview, and then the minute they got connected with the recruiter, they're like, oh my gosh, I just met you. Like that relationship is definitely built there from the start, and it really provides a kind of a connection in our recruiting process to the recruiting department and to the hiring manager early on.
That's awesome. That's a big, they already have kind of buy-in, like they already feel close. But I want to go back a minute. So because I was curious, when you get all of this stuff, you get all this data, you get all these videos, then what do you do with it? Do you put it into some like cute little hodgepodge, or a day in the life? So many people are using that horrible stock music that sounds the same, flashing people saying it's fun, whatever, like these crazy things. What do you do with it to make it still seem authentic?
Yeah, we simply, merge together, different kind of clips of different interns talking about it. We focused it into a couple key areas, merged, tell me about CDW, what do you do for CDW? We merged those types of questions together and compiled a couple, 3 to 4 different tracks from each intern. And then we went to the second question and went to 3 to 4 different areas from each intern and did that again until we finished it. In the end, we delivered about a 2-minute product. Which I think is about the right amount of time. You don't want to deliver a 5 or a 10-minute product because you're going to lose interest in your candidates. And it's a 2-minute kind of on-demand interview insight into the role. And from there, it transitions to the questions, the introductions from the various hiring managers and the various recruiters. That's how we did. That's how we split it up.
Now, what is on-demand interview? What is that? What does that mean?
Yeah, it's really an interview that's on the candidate schedule, right? You wouldn't believe how many people complete an interview for CDW on demand after hours, right? They don't have time to break away during the day like all of us potentially here today. They're really kind of focused on, I got to go to school, I got to go to work, I've got obligations. So an on-demand interview allows us to initially create that screening process with the candidate to ensure there's an initial fit for the candidate before we actually, have to commit a recruiter's full time or a half hour or 45 minutes. And the other thing that's nice about it is it's a continued engagement with the candidate, right? So right after the job application is complete, they're given this on-demand interview experience. And that allows our recruiters to really kind of give them some cushion, right? So they don't have to be calling the candidate the next day. They can let this, on-demand interview process take its time and gives our recruiters some cushion so they can get to the candidates and they can process the candidates they're currently working with.
Now, is that something that's on your website, or is that something that you send after they show interest? Like, how does one do that?
Yeah, after you complete an application, it's integrated with our ATS Taleo. HireVue is, and there's various, there's a number of solutions that have integrations. We happen to use HireVue here at CW.
Got it. I don't. There's not a lot. I mean, there's some that have some of the interviews, or some of the. I don't know. HireVue, I think, is exceptional for that piece of all the different ways that they have to do it.
Yeah,
they're not sponsoring this, but I just like it.
We've been a long-time HireVue customer here at CW. I think we were customer number 2 or 3, approaching almost 10 years now. So it's been a great experience for us.
Well, now you've talked about you do these videos. We know you use a couple of different tools. What do you do with people? I mean, the next piece is how do you afford that? What if I'm a smaller company? CDW is huge, so.
Well, the cool thing is that every interview is watched before the initial recruiter conversation, the recruiter screen happens by that recruiter. So the recruiter is instantly able to use that to build a relationship and connection. They can say, what, I really liked your answer to question, what do you think about CDW, or whatever the question is, and they can use that to build rapport with the candidate. And I think that's essential because, that first 2 minutes of the interview.
He's about to turn down all of the. I'm gonna be missing.
The first 2 minutes of an interview, on that phone screen are really essential to kind of hitting it off with the candidate long term, and I think that we're only furthering that relationship and making it even easier for the recruiter and candidate to really have it for those best candidates. And it also ensures that we can screen for correct tools and make sure, or screen for correct traits and communication skills and other kind of basic things that you can do via video interaction like we're doing today.
I just think, would you recommend, like you don't have HireVue, you don't have those things, would you recommend just sending them questions and telling them to send you a video? I mean, like...
I think that, in the world of the iPhone and emerging technology, there are so many different things you can do. I encourage my recruiters to, really use video and think about how you can use video first, right? So if you don't have HireVue, maybe it's just you're sending that realistic job preview beforehand, in an email, a link to YouTube about your company, and really kind of using that to start the conversation, asking the question, hey, what did you think about that video, right? I don't think you always have to have solutions like HireVue. You might have solutions like WebEx or GoToMeeting as well that you can really, you can use to kind of do that video interaction with candidates, Skype, FaceTime, all do the same kind of things where you can have two-way interactions, digitally via video.
And that being said, everybody, just as a friendly reminder, you can put your questions in the bottom, and except for Recruiting Animal, he's not allowed. And if you want to put them on Twitter with the hashtag RDaily, we'll make sure and get those answered as well. Let me ask you another question. How many college students or interns do y'all hire a year?
150 approximately.
And are you responsible for all of those, or how big is your team? I mean,
yeah, so we have a campus internship program where the interns never actually see a CW location for the most part. It's a multi-year internship program. They start generally their sophomore year, and they continue in that internship until their senior year. That's located, nationwide, because these educational institutions are not only sources of income for us, but also our customers in the higher education space. They're buying technology solutions, technology products from us, and the students' ability to really interact between our sales team and the university customers is significantly beneficial. We're also using those interns on campus, though, as brand ambassadors, right, to attend career fairs, attend events with us, and really kind of help get out the CW brand, which, yes, we're a Fortune 200 company, but I will tell you, in the recruiting space, our applicants recognize our partners before they recognize CDW, because we don't put our name on any products, any solutions. You might see Apple, HP, Dell, Lenovo before you recognize, oh yeah, that's CDW, right? Because those are all partners that we provide technology solutions, for our customers. Yeah. And so that's one of them. We also have a summer internship program, which is primarily based here in the Chicago area, where we invite college students to come join us in Chicago across our enterprise. So you might be in sales, you might be in corporate IT, corporate marketing, supply chain, finance, analytics, a wide variety of roles. And so that is, a program that was actually started in 2015, the summer internship program, and has continued to grow year over year. The campus internship program has been around for a little over 10 years now, which, it really kind of speaks to the longevity of the program and the success that we've had with it.
No, that's huge. I've never heard of anybody having a program like that for that long that's still working and successful. So that's pretty nice. Now, that being said, I have to ask you the question, right? Because it's my favorite thing. So, NASCAR.
Yes.
So what does NASCAR have to do with recruiting?
Yeah, so CDW, really it takes an active stance in helping and, placing military veterans in the community, preparing them, from the kind of the transition, military and active duty, or veterans and active duty military. And so this is an initiative, the upcoming Dover NASCAR Monster Energy Race, where CDW is going to be hosting kind of a hiring our heroes event, where we are working in collaboration with the local USO office and the Dover NASCAR team, and various other partners here at CW of ours to really provide a top quality event where active duty military, their family, and veterans will be able to come in and learn about different traits in their recruiting process, whether it's digital interviewing, whether it's how to build a successful LinkedIn profile, tips of the trades of how to deal with recruiters, hiring manager expectations, a whole host of other kind of things that are essential to being a candidate, getting hired, I will say, in the recruiting process. And I think that sometimes, they seem like second nature to us recruiters and us hiring managers, but that's not the same for the other side of the fence. And so our at CW, I will tell you, we really take a candidate-focused kind of nature to everything we do. So this is an upcoming event for military veterans and active duty military. We do the same kind of thing for our university recruiting aspects with our students here at CW and in other groups.
You said something specific about like LinkedIn and getting those profiles. Somebody said last week, like, if you don't have LinkedIn, you don't exist. And the stat, which I don't know, it said 60% of recruiters, if you don't have a LinkedIn profile, will not look at you.
Yeah.
What do you think about that? Is that accurate? And what do you do if a candidate isn't on LinkedIn?
Well, I will tell you, I think a LinkedIn profile is essential. And then I will tell you the second part is, does your LinkedIn profile match your resume, right? And I cannot tell you how many recruiters I have interviewed in the process where the LinkedIn profile doesn't match the resume. And so I think that is really something to hit home with, with our candidates is, and with the attendees, is really kind of making sure that those match. It's essential, and from our perspective here at CW, a LinkedIn profile shows your commitment, your involvement in what is becoming, a changing sourcing world, right? Tools like LinkedIn, tools like Intello, various other sourcing tools have really, your web presence is everything, right? It's not just I'm going to post in the newspaper and you're going to respond to my job ad anymore. It's quickly becoming, over the last couple of years, more and more of recruiters having to go out there and find the best talent and really kind of using that to strategically fill positions.
Now, how many employees do y'all have at CDW?
8,800.
And growing, I'm assuming.
Yes, yes.
What do you think the biggest challenge is in getting people in? I know with CDW being a brand for a long time, a lot of times people think they already know the brand and they already know what it is. And like you were talking about, like there's multiple products that people may not attribute to CDW. So what do you think the biggest challenge is getting people in?
Yeah, you know what? I mean, I think it's definitely finding the right person and finding quality, right? So I would say we're definitely, when it comes to how do we continue to find sourcing solutions and tools that will continue to push CDW forward, assessment vendors, another vendor we just launched here at CDW is Stella AI. That uses, a talent sharing community among other Fortune 500 emerging technology companies to really use AI technology and assessments to match them with peer institutions where they may be a better fit for a role if they got rejected from another institution. And that kind of technology is going to make us smarter, more efficient as we continue to go forward as an organization. It really, finding the right candidate the first time is everything for us. And in particular when it comes to our high volume roles, that we're hiring for our account manager, account representative, our inside sales roles, it is essential. The cost of turnover is substantial, right? So every point that we're able to reduce that, there's a substantial increase, there's substantial impact on the bottom line. But we still got to meet our hiring obligations, right, and our goals. So it's not like you can say, hey, we're only going to go hire X when we need to hire Y.
Right. I think that's fascinating. You're talking about some of the artificial intelligence and machine learning. What tools do you use that that is working that you think are the best within machine learning?
Yeah, I think Stella AI is definitely on the bleeding edge and cutting edge of technology here when it comes to the talent sharing and job matching, because they only allow a candidate to apply for roles that they are qualified based upon their AI technology. You are matched those opportunities, and then the candidate is only presented those opportunities that they essentially are qualified for. So I think that is when it comes to and you're looking at innovation, right? How do we make sure that the candidate is the right fit for the role? We are definitely on the leading edge there. Other tools that we're using, HireVue is one of them, right? We are essentially, rather than having to start off with that recruiter screen, which could be anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour, we're now starting off with a 3 to 5 minute video that a recruiter can watch, right? Are the communication skills there that are required for the role, right? And for us, it's really about other kinds of leading edge technology. We're looking at a vendor here at CW right now that will enable us to do some AI technology to do live chat. So we don't on our website, so we can have that constant engagement when there might not even be a recruiter there. Because again, we want to provide to the candidate's time, the candidate's experience. So if they want to be applying for a job at 11 o'clock at night, so be it. They've got a question and the AI technology can answer it. Great. That's something that we're looking at right now, implementing it here at CW.
It makes me think about this was the next one because I know you use those tools and you talk about interviews on demand. So how much of your process is automated?
So, when you look at it, it definitely requires, step and status change in Taleo, moving a person along definitely requires recruiter intervention. We are not, I don't think that we will get to a point in the near future where we are a 100% automated process. I think that recruiter interaction is essential, right? I talked earlier about building the relationship between your candidate and the recruiter, and at the end of the day, it is definitely as much as, recruiting is a sales role, right?
That's right.
You are closing the candidate just as much as you are interviewing them, right? If you weren't closing them, then you wouldn't be hiring anybody, unless you're one of those Fortune 5 or really kind of really brand prevalent and sexy companies that everybody wants to work for.
The challenge is, we were talking about this at HRTX, we're in Boston right now, is that a lot of these roles, before you would have people that hired at Google or hired at Amazon with this very specific technology, but now everybody's competing with those same people. They're all looking for the machine learning and all of those pieces and having to do that. What do you think? Go ahead.
Go ahead. Oh, I was just going to say another tool we use here at CDW is our CRM telemetry, which sits on the front of our ATS and allows us to really gather all those people who are pre-applicant, right? They've expressed interest in us, and we can build saved searches, automated saved searches on that database pool, and allow them. So hey, a job opening opened up, and it's based upon something you expressed interest in. We can send them that invite to apply, and that process can be automated. Or it can be done manually by a recruiter, which is another way that we can save time and gain efficiency for our team.
Well, I think it's important. I mean, before we used to call people at work. You can't do that. People hate it, and they know instantly because nobody calls them, on their desk phone anymore. But you have to meet them where they are. Like, I think that automation is an important part of the process. Of course, like you said, there is going to be that personal interaction that you have to do. But it's exciting to hear some of the ways that you're using it, and I think a lot of people can learn to implement those things.
Yes.
I did want to know, like, okay, so let's pretend I'm a recruiter. I've got 2 years of experience, and somebody said, "Hey, Jackie, start looking for university like students or interns."
Yeah.
What would be the first step you would advise me? How would you advise me to that?
Yeah, definitely figure out what your local colleges are based around your office within a 50 mile radius. Do your research. Where do you think your best opportunity is to recruit students? Given salary expectations, given diversity of those colleges, right? And other important things. Don't focus on things like, hey, my boss is from here, so I need to go to this school. Don't focus on those types of things because those aren't necessarily predictors of success within your organization, I will tell you. And then, start with a posting strategy, right? You've got to build a business case internally for your business before you go and spend money. So a posting strategy is free. You can build relationships with schools via phone, via potential visits, and then you can start to look at, hey, how can we potentially sponsor things on those campuses? How can we potentially get involved with the career fair? What other ways are there to break into the space? But if you're looking to start up and you just need a couple people, a posting strategy will do wonders. There's also resume books that we pre-active in, and once you've built those relationships with schools, they'll open them up to you. I think that there's just so much space in university recruiting to really kind of continue to innovate, be on the cutting edge. And at CW, I'm constantly pushing my team to what are those things that we can continue to do. We're already great, right? We're already good, but how do we continue to elevate our game in the talent acquisition space and in the university relations space to outpace our competition, right? Because if you're stagnant, you will fail. It's only a matter of time.
Do you think? Let me ask you this: do you post on traditional job boards to attract university students? Like, are you using Monster Career Builder, or where do you post your jobs?
So we use a multitude of various solutions here internally at CDW. Pay-per-click campaigns, kind of stock market, app feeder, appcast solutions to get our jobs out versus maintaining, direct contracts with some of these boards today. In the job board world, where we need to move our money around to different locations because we hired it nationwide to different cities, and on the speed of a dime. It's just not efficient for us to go and say, hey, I want to move this position to this one or this one. But yeah, we do. I think that there's always a place. You're always going to have job boards, out there. They account for, actually, a pretty substantial, big portion of your hires. But I will tell you, those people were probably influenced via another channel along the way. You look at how many times a person has to see your brand before they actually go and apply. If they're actually interested, sure. If they're going and they're clicking the select this job, select this job, select this job, and applying to 10 jobs at once, those people probably not a fit, right? But if somebody saw you on campus, then saw you online, saw you in a press release, saw a commercial or whatever it is, and then they go on that job board and apply, think about how many touch points you had along the way with them, right? And I think there will always be job boards. I think the innovation there will continue to get there. I think there's some pretty cool stuff when it comes to companies now selectively picking people and then matching them, kind of sourcing aspects, outside sourcing, pre-sourcing, lead generation, I guess we can call it here. That's kind of, emerging and continuing to grow right now.
You know what? We're out of time. Can you
Went
believe
by fast.
I love talking to you. I always learn something new. I appreciate it. And we're going to record it. So we'll definitely send it to you. And, I think we should do this again or do another webinar or whatever. I like talking to you. Well, I appreciate you. And everybody, thanks for coming. And I guess we'll see you next Friday. Bye.
Bye.